Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Triangles meditation. I got caught unawares because our YouTube channel is somehow demanding a new step with which I am unfortunately not familiar. But I hope you can hear me. If anybody can hear me, please do write in the chat box on our regular receptor, and hopefully I will, be able to carry on with this triangles meditation. When they surprise you like that and say a new verification step is needed, and you're counting on the usual amount of time to get started, it can be difficult. That's all I can say. So I'll just do my best with this, and hopefully I'll be able to see in a moment whether you can or cannot hear me. If I don't see anybody, then I know that this broadcast is probably not going to take place, and I would be very sorry about that. And meanwhile, I will try to figure out what exactly has what exactly has happened. Okay. Now I'll check and see how we do. You can hear. Okay. At least that. Okay. At least that. So this will be a little bit maybe not the usual type of broadcast that I often give, but I'll try to turn on the eternal Om, and hopefully we'll have at least a little bit of a background. Let's see if that works. Yeah. Looks like it will work. Well, we have a bit of a different week because the full moon is coming up, and it's an important full moon. Probably one of the most important in the future years. It's the Leo Sirius full moon, and the pre-full moon before that, plus all of the sacred pentagram work. So, our usual schedule will be amended. But we'll follow that, and you should have received the weekly schedule. I hope that is the case. So, look, friends, I think I'm just going to get into the meditation. Maybe just to say a couple of things, maybe off the top of my head. We're entering an etheric age. The age of Aquarius has a tremendous concentration upon the etheric body, and so does the other air sign associated with Aquarius, and that is Gemini, which brings in what we call, interestingly, the head of the cosmic Christ. One of my colleagues, who is very astute in these matters, pointed out the location of Gemini relative to the great hunter Orion. And it does seem, when you look at Orion, that it has no head. It's a tremendous constellation. 7 stars of the first, low magnitude, which means high visibility as far as the Earth is concerned. It's got 7 major stars, but no head. And Gemini is very close. So there is quite a relationship between Gemini and the super constellation Orion, which is part of a greater zodiac, and part of the chakra system of the one about whom naught may be said, who is not just a cosmic logos, but a super cosmic logos. So when we're looking at the neighboring cosmos, Orion is standing, among other things, for a kind of great heart center related to the Christ. And, you know, it has within its belt the Alnilam Min Taka. I try to memorize those, you know, because they're not usual words. They are called the Three Kings, and if you follow their trajectory down, you find the great star Sirius. Now, Sirius is a real dwarf star when compared to these supergiant stars in the belt of Orion, but let's just say Sirius, in one sense, is the loyal dog following his master, Orion. So, you know, there's a huge etheric interplay which is going to become more and more obvious to people who are tuned in to the meaning of our solar system, its local cosmic logos, and this greater being, a super cosmic logos called the one about whom naught may be said. So let us try to become more etherically sensitive. That's the way of the future. The true physical body is actually the etheric body, and it won't be long before those planets which have a dense physical body will shed that body and appear in their true etheric nature. Now, when we do triangles, we are building up that structure which will replace the dense physical body. Right now, what we hope for is that the etheric structure will condition the dense physical body and bring it into some kind of order and some kind of responsiveness to spiritual light, spiritual love, and eventually the will to good. Maybe we don't quite have those kinds of triangles first, now, but it doesn't hurt to know that they will emerge. We are all of us engaged in an esoteric enterprise, which can be and will be very powerful and subjective, not just subtle, but subjective. We are building subjectively. And although a lot of people might look at what we're doing and saying, well, this is pure fantasy, um, it is not. And we have the Tibetan's word for it, and his word is good. So, with those things in mind, we will simply begin our work and move into that area where the actual meditation begins as part of the Ask project. And you know, it doesn't hurt to be reminded that Ask is all about asking, seeking, and knocking. So, ask and ye shall receive, seek and ye shall find, and knock and it shall be open to you. A-S-K. And that, you know, basically, it's a little word which encapsulates the coming science of invocation. One of the, if not the greatest science of the coming New Age. And, you know, we're, as human beings, we are on the forefront of that. Of course, there are many high initiates and those who already are working entirely with it. But we are just starting, and within the human race itself, we have to set an example and bring these possibilities to the people who are completely benighted with old Piscean traditions, which just aren't going anywhere. You know, they may have served their purpose, but now those methods and the religions associated with them are frozen and no longer constructive and useful. We are building, in a way, the new world religion when we work with the triangles meditation. So there's good information from the rays and the initiations, of course, and from discipleship in the New Age, and really in the 1930s, that's when the triangles began to emerge, even though I think the seed of all of this occurred in 1925 when many ashrams moved onto the Buddhic plane. It was momentous. And now, just 4 years from now, we're going to have another one of those great centennials. What kind of changes will there be to help sensitize humanity to its newer and necessary possibilities? Here we are in Finland, and I often say that between the Swedish preparatory school and the Russian advanced school, Finland plays a very interesting kind of bridging role. And its Kalevala has been noted as a sacred document by Madame Blavatsky. So we're having our work here to do, that's for sure, just as all of us do in the place where we find ourselves. Okay. The triangles of light and of goodwill are essentially invocative. They constitute the ABC of the coming science of invocation. Their strength is dependent upon the depth of feeling in the one case and the strength of the will in the other, with which they are created. So the triangles of love have to do with the depth of feeling, and the triangles of light with the strength of the will. And we are students, clearly, of the Master DK, whose ashram contains people of all the different rays, because it's a vast training ashram. So wherever you may eventually go as your home ashram, Master DK offers the opportunity for training at this time. DK tells us of his project, and the students close to him were launching the project, that it's so close to my heart, he says. So close to my heart. Obviously, we're going to have there an occult suggestion and not a sentimental suggestion. There is a stage of discipleship, we know, that is called the Chela, within the Master's heart. It is the 6th stage of discipleship. And let us never forget, although it's just an amazing thought, that 3 beings who were working as planetary logoi in the previous major 3rd ray solar system and are called today the Buddhas of activity, are at the peak of the entire triangle's work. And Master DK tells us, forget not that these 3 great Buddhas summarize in a peculiar sense the transmuted essence of the previous solar system, in which intelligent activity was the goal. Today, that essence underlies all the activity of this solar system, which is the 5th or the 2nd major, but is motivated by love. Love and intelligence together. The Buddhas themselves, he says, form a deeply esoteric triangle. We're building a kind of antakarana, not just a personal, individual antakarana, but one that actually links as a thread between the head center of Sanat Kumara and his heart center. That's a big project, and the more we succeed individually, the more we contribute to it. Many of us are educators, And the educators of the New Age particularly emphasize the building of the Antakarana through the head, ajna, and throat centers. So many new developments will be occurring to link the lower with the higher and the higher with the lower. And a group Antakarana on our level will be created between the kingdom of souls, which you and I are entering, and the world of men, the fourth kingdom, where we find so many millions upon millions of people who do not know their possibilities yet. In our meditation, we breathe in white light a few times, drawing the light of the soul, drawing in the light of the soul via the first step of Antakarana building. And also 3 times in silence, we sound the Antakarana note Om through our lower triangle, the 3 lower bodies: mental, emotional, etheric, physical. We've been using this special instruction to an advanced disciple of the Tibetans, but one who is really a disciple of the Master Morya in his monad. And the Tibetan tells him, and at the same time tells us, I would ask you for a few minutes each morning prior to doing the group meditation to rest quietly back in your chair or bed and, closing your eyes, link up with me, your soul friend, your friend. Link up with your soul and with me, your friend. Oh. You will thus create a triangle of light between your soul, your head center, and myself. Fix and hold this triangle firmly in your consciousness through the power of the creative imagination. See it next as a solid triangle of light, and not just an outline. Visualize the base of the triangle on the mental plane, where Master Decay works, and where dwells and works your soul, really the angel of the presence. The lower point or apex touches the top of your head. Now see, pouring down via the triangle, a stream of light, golden, light orange in color, and on this occasion, not white. See this flooding your whole body. And when you have visualized this as perfectly as possible, then rest back in that light and bathe in it as you would bathe in the waters of the sea. See it permeating every part of your physical equipment, and let it do its work without having any definite ideas as to what should be accomplished. He goes on to say, the rest of the activity is in my hands, and you can safely leave it to me. He adds, this exercise will aid you in handling your life problem and your service until such time as you enter into that light, wherein consciousness awakens, free from the bonds of flesh. The blessing of your co-disciples is upon you, and yours on them. Now, contact. After we have reached a poised stage, holding the consciousness steadily in the mind and not in the head, contact the spiritual triplicity, which is that which, quote, hovers over the square and radiates the energy of light into the waiting field of active thought. And now together we pronounce the mantram of the will from Dinah 2, 140 and 141. And we try to make this real to ourselves as we enunciate this mantram. In the center of the will of God I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from His. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Now, we contact our triangle's members inwardly, being aware of how your triangle or triangles every time becomes or become etherically more living, and thus help to vitalize the golden network of triangles. Energy does follow thought. So, we focus on our own triangle or triangles and call upon the group members, including yourself, by name and with love. And we'll keep a few moments of silence to do that. We visualize the flow of love and goodwill passing between the members of our triangle or triangles. Love and goodwill emanating from one of the Buddhas of activity, the one who works with or through love, intelligently applied in humanity. And we reflect on the words of the Christ. A new commandment I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you also must love one another. And we feel the second ray energy and how it contributes to the change of the square-like planetary etheric field, at least on the non-sacred planets like ours. And the spiritual light passes through as well. Descending from one of the Buddhas who works through the medium of the will aspect. When the eye is opened, all is illumined. And the Christ said, and one day we will say, I am the light of the world. A lighted, loving, etheric field. And now we look at three major points linking our triangle or triangles to the global network of triangles. And thence to the Buddhas of activity. All integrated and becoming stronger and stronger. And from these triangles now being created, the Buddhas of activity will extract that essential quality which will go to the building of this aspect of the planetary Antakarana. And know that, try to realize that in times of emergency within humanity or upon the planet, the Buddhas of activity can energize the triangle's network for protective purposes. And now we will participate in the sounding of the great invocation, which is the foundation of the coming invocative work.
center where the will of God is known. Let purpose guide the little wills of men. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Let light and love and power restore the
So let us see the global network of triangles covering the entire planet. This is what we're working for. And endeavor to realize the factual nature of this great living spiritual organism which increasingly substands all world affairs. It is a growing, vital reality. And one day of such life and potency, that it can break through or break up all limiting outer cleavages. And by the very force of its interior life, eventually externalize itself. As Alice Bailey is said to have said, visualize at least 100,000 living triangles functioning within the square-like etheric body of Earth, translating or transmuting it etherically into triangles, and then the turn will be made. Through our work, we attempt to see the Earth as it one day will be, a sacred planet, and humanity redeemed. In closing, sound the Om 3 times, sustaining the circulation of love and light flowing through your triangles. Thank you, friends, for your participation and your presence. The next few days will have a lot of Zoom meetings, so please check your weekly schedule. I don't have it in front of me right now, but you should have been sent it. And if not, it should be on Makara. So, we'll be working ahead during this vitally important full moon period, the Sirius Leo full moon. And to close, we'll listen to and participate in the first of the great invocations, 1935 and 6. Thank you for being here, and a copy of this will be sent